sensations on the fingers and the way that it translates to the body. It's just like, it's just amazing stuff.
The Stitching Project is an incredible project. Years ago, I began organizing the Women's Memorial March on February 14th in response to an Indigenous woman who was murdered on Powell Street in Vancouver. And so that march is beautiful. It brings community members together. It allows us the opportunity to really talk about our own experiences as women who've experienced violence. And so the Stitch Project has been incredible in the sense that we're having those conversations again. And with people who maybe don't know about gender-based violence, they've not experienced it, so it allows this beautiful opportunity to have those difficult conversations and bring awareness to this issue.
Was in the work that I do in the anti-violence sector with children and their caregivers. I was just noticing over time, it felt like every day having conversations about this big issue that's quite common with individuals only, it felt like something was missing, and I enjoy stitching quite a bit. It's quite relaxing and therapeutic, and I thought, why not try to come up with a creative way to engage the community in having these conversations in a bigger, broader way.
We have to raise awareness of gender-based violence, and what better way than to engage the community individually so that we can all come together as a collective whole.
My name's Amy Crook, and I go by the pronouns she, her.
My name is Christy Bell, her, she. I'm joining you today from the unceded territory of the Comox and Pentlatch peoples. My ancestry is Scottish and Northern Cree from Driftpile, Alberta.
I'm Diana McKenzie. You already know that I'm Scottish. My preferred pronouns are she, her, they.
I think as an Indigenous woman myself, I am part of that group of people who are going to experience gender-based violence more than maybe others. Growing up, I didn't know about gender-based violence, even as an Indigenous woman, until I got into my first relationship with an Indigenous man who had experienced intergenerational trauma. And that was so eye-opening to me, and I didn't know it existed until that moment, and now work tirelessly to overcome my own trauma, but also bring my story to others in hopes that others don't experience what so many of us as Indigenous women do experience.
The thing that's really important for me right now, and it's part of why I brought my son, my 6-year-old, who obviously because he likes to do the embroidery, but my goal as a parent is to hopefully give my sons the tools to be able to understand their emotions and to have a grasp of empathy and compassion for other people, and hopefully that they won't be part of the problem when they're older. And something that's really important to me, having boys and wanting to make sure that they're conscious of this kind of thing.
Another beautiful piece that I've learned doing it, I've done a stitch project with my daughter who's 9 years old, and so really tailoring that conversation to the age group and raising that awareness with our young people. It starts at home, and so I really believe this project could be so much bigger, and you could implement it within your own families. Do a stitch project with your family and have those conversations that maybe you wouldn't be having unless you were sitting there really putting the time and effort into stitching.
And I'm stitching. No means no. Doesn't matter who you are or where you are. If you're in a situation where somebody is asking anything of you that you're not comfortable with, learning to say no and walk away, or find your friend and stand up for your no.
I could get really caught up in just one square, right? Like if you look at this table, all the people, and then to read those that did include the reflection of maybe what they were thinking about when they were stitching, to look at their piece and then to read their reflection is, yeah, just sort of worth stopping and kind of giving some time to.
Gender-based violence is heartbreaking. We all need to help with the band-aids to help people heal. I have always loved button blankets. That is my reference to the murdered and missing Indigenous women.
Abusers try to isolate their victims. Don't be ashamed to let your friends know you're in trouble.
I think what we can do as a community is projects like the Stitch Project. You know, bring those conversations to everybody. So it's not Indigenous women carrying that, trying to raise that awareness and sharing our own experiences that it is difficult for so many. So I think we all need to carry that and continue to do community projects where we're bringing people together, we're raising awareness on issues, because the more people are aware of these issues and recognize, even maybe within themselves, that they are perpetuating gender-based violence, that is how we're going to change things, is continuing to raise that awareness so people can even accept that within themselves maybe they are part of that issue.
You said the word community, but we as a community have to act as a community.
It's been absolutely incredible watching the community come together, and even though the project, you know, there was 16 days, gender-based violence doesn't stop after 16 days, and I'm seeing people still getting a hold of me, you know, students from North Island College, non-Indigenous elders in our community saying, oh, I want to be part of this. So it's really, I believe this project can continue on.
So we called it our Stitch and Bitch session. And we do that. We get to say absolutely anything that comes into our minds, into our hearts, or whatever. And our hands are busy. Yeah, our hearts are full. Fabric. Yeah. It was just the design on the fabric.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So that's stitching.
These are very impressive human work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look at the hair. Oh my gosh.
And his hair, so, oh, well, the same sex couple.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's like cool. The promise of a piece to me.